Hi, my name's Leo and I'm a boat builder and a sailor, and I'm on a mission to sail this boat, Tally-Ho, back from the Pacific Ocean to the UK to sail once again in the Fastnet race 100 years after she won it in 1927. We start this video in Costa Rica, and having just left the Sail Cargo project, which we visited in the last episode, we sailed southeast just over 100 miles to Drake Bay. Where are we, Paddy?
We're in Drake's Bay.
Drake Bay is a tiny village in the jungle, but it does have a little bit of tourist infrastructure and a small airstrip. And this is where Patrick and Jake both left the boat.
Nice, alright, mid-set. Oh god. See you later!
Then Marat and I went to explore the rainforest. This area has some of the last remaining old-growth rainforest in Central America and some of the highest density of biodiversity in the world.
Look at these crazy flowers.
From Drake Bay, Marat and I continued to sail Tally-Ho down the coast of Costa Rica and into Panama, picking up some more friends along the way. Our goal was to get to Panama City and the entrance to the Panama Canal as quickly as weather would allow so we could book our transit. However, we did find time to enjoy a couple of scenic spots along the way. Right now we are approaching the Panama Canal, but before we actually get to the canal and start going through that process, we've got to go around this point just behind me, which is called Point Mala, or Punta Mala, which means, I think, Point Bad, because it's notorious for having strong winds from the north, wind over tide situations, steep seas, and so on. So we've been anticipating this and we're a little bit nervous about it, but we've got the boat well set up and everything is tightly lashed down. So we're going to be going around the point very shortly. We're just motoring because we have to go directly into the wind, and we'll see what we get. Hopefully we'll get across this kind of gulf and closer to Panama City tonight. We We had chosen to stay close inshore as we rounded Punta Mala, and we passed it around an hour before slack water when there was supposed to be the least current. And I think that was the right choice in this case because we found the conditions really weren't that bad. The waves, although small, were also very short, so tally-ho did pitch a little bit, but we had no issues as we continued north across the Gulf of Panama, edging closer to the canal. As we passed between two small islands into the vicinity of Panama City itself, we started seeing many commercial vessels anchored, most of them probably waiting for their passage through the canal. Ship is moving. Arriving at Panama City.
Wait, what did you just say? Our friend's boat is on that boat?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
They paid $22,000.
Solo permiso para entrar a muelle, pero déjame personal.
Do you want to put that poncho on?
Déjame ver, así lo vamos a andar.
Do it, come on. This is the best poncho. Yeah.
Torre, aquí con la R1 permiso para salir con un pasajero para
Okay, so we've arrived in Panama City and we're actually anchored just outside the entrance to the Panama Canal. So the channel is right there and we can actually see these huge boats going past all day, going in and out of the canal, which is really interesting, although they do sometimes kick up quite a big wake, so we get their waves and tally-ho rocks around on the anchor, which is fine, but might be a problem when we're trying to sleep at night. But really excited to be here. This is a big step and our next task is to talk to our agent. We've been in touch with him for quite a while. He is helping us with all the paperwork that it takes to get through the canal because there's a lot of paperwork and it can take a long time and be very complicated if you do it on your own. Some people do it on their own, but we're using an agent to make it easier and a lot of people do that. With the agent's fees, the total cost for going through the canal for this boat is going to be around $4,000, so a lot of money. However, the big boats pay much more than that, and I actually heard recently that some of the biggest boats pay over $1 million just to go through the canal. Now, while we're in communication with our agent and we're booking in our time slot for actually going through the canal, I'm going to be working on the hybrid system because the new replacement motor for the one that failed was sent out to a contact of mine here in Panama City. He's already dropped it off on tally-ho, so I have the new motor. I've just got to take the old one off, put the new one on, connect it all up and pray that it works. This is our replacement electric motor, so let's have a look. See if it's looks like the right one. Okay, so this is the faulty motor which needs replacing, and I've already taken off these hoses and drained as much of the coolant out as I could. So there's a coolant loop that goes through these two motors and then through a raw water heat exchanger to pull the heat out of them, and that all goes into the seawater that's flowing through the system. So now I just have to disconnect these electrical connections, which I already swapped over from the other motor, and then hopefully just unbolt the motor here and see if I can just lift it right out. Now, while we're watching this work happen, I have to address a couple of misconceptions about this whole hybrid system. I've seen a lot of people suggesting that I must be disappointed with it. Now, it's true that we have had a couple of minor issues, but they've been easily solvable. And the really important thing about this system, the thing that I've really liked from the very beginning, is that it's got redundancy. So no matter what happens to the hybrid, the electric part of it, this is a basic diesel engine that's connected to the prop shaft, and we can always use it to power the boat as long as the diesel engine is working like a diesel engine should. And to be clear, when we were waiting for the spare belt last week that allowed us to run off just one of the hybrid motors, that wasn't because we couldn't go anywhere. It was just because it would be difficult for us to charge our AC and 48 volt system, which would mean the freezer would thaw out, and I wouldn't be able to use my computer and camera equipment and so on. So it's not a matter of safety, it's really a matter of comfort. I know many people think that we should have gone simpler with the systems, and honestly sometimes I think that as well. And if I build another boat, I'll probably do a complete systemless, very basic boat, because I think that's fun. But this boat has several functions, and one of those functions is as an editing studio, and I have a lot of equipment that relates to that. And so for me to actually be able to do my work, which is making these videos right now, I need a lot of electricity. What this hybrid system does, as well as being able to spin the propeller with electric power if we want to, what I use it for mostly is to have an engine and a generator in one unit. So I think most boats with the systems that we have doing the sort of work that I do would have a separate generator as well as their engine, and we don't have to do that because it's all in one here. Now, I'm not saying that's the best way or the only way to do it, but with our various constraints, I think this solution is a neat one, and it's worked very well for me. I'm really pleased I've got this system on board, and I think if we ever have the boat in a marina or have a lot of solar panels on it, then it'll come even more into its own with being able to run diesel engine less. But as it is, just using the hybrid system basically as a generator and occasionally spinning the prop under electric power when we need to or want to, it's a really good system to have on board. Now, in terms of the belt we were waiting for, of course we had spare belts in case the primary belt broke, and in fact we already had one wrapped around the propeller, but we didn't have a belt to run the system on just one motor because I didn't anticipate a motor failing. But now we know that, we've got plenty of spares. And actually, as I put this back together, you'll see I put two spare belts around the prop shaft, one long one that can go around both motors and one shorter one that can go around just one motor. So if we have any other failures with a belt or a motor, one of those spare belts should fix it. Even though, to be very clear, none of those failures in the hybrid part of the system will stop any of our critical systems from working.
Whoa. Don't drink the coolant, Leo.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. No, definitely don't drink this coolant because it's poisonous. Is there still stuff coming out of that hose?
A little tiny bit.
So the new hybrid motor is installed. I haven't tested it yet because I need to replace the coolant. I had to drain the coolant out to be able to change the motor, and I'm actually changing it for a different type, which just means I have to flush the system through a few times with water to get it all out, because you're not supposed to mix different types, and now I'm flushing the water out with the new coolant, and then we'll be able to test it, and with a bit of luck it will work. We'll see. Well, the new motor appears to be working and the hybrid system is now back up and running at full capacity again. But there's one more job I have to do in the engine room. It's time to service and clean the heat exchanger. This is just part of the regular scheduled maintenance, but on this particular installation it's a bit difficult because we can't slide it out forwards, which is what you'd normally do, so I have to take the exhaust elbow all the way off to slide the heat exchanger stack out facing aft. However, it's all good practice and it made me realise I need to replace the heat jacket on the exhaust elbow. The heat exchanger stack turned out to be pretty clean, so I put it all back together, making sure to isolate the dissimilar metals on reassembly. Well, the hybrid motor is fixed, I'm really pleased about that. The heat exchanger is all cleaned and put back together, and we have a date for our Panama Canal transit. So very excited and looking forward to getting through the canal and into the Atlantic Ocean. It'll be the first time for many decades that this boat has been in the Atlantic. Of course, I'm going to talk a lot more about that and about the whole procedure, and we're actually going to go through the canal in the next video. But for now, thanks a lot for watching, and a massive thank you to everyone who has donated or otherwise supported this project. It does make a huge difference. It means we're able to keep on maintaining and sailing this boat, and it means we're able to keep on making these videos. So I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Cheers.